Hello, I'm Dale from Dale's
Hi.
Gig Reviews and Metallaville Online Magazine, and you are Guy Griffin.
Nice to meet you, Dale.
Yes, it's nice to meet you. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Now we've
Yeah.
figured out our little technical
Well,
problem.
I'd like to say it's 7 o'clock. It's time for a party, but we're now at 13 minutes past seven, so we'll
I,
see how it goes.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't do the 7 o'clock at time for a party anymore. But
It shows 7 o'clock, time for slippers and a coffee.
yeah, yeah, more like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So your band is I'm going to be seeing you very shortly. I've got it wrote down here somewhere. I'm going to be seeing you on the 13th of December at the Bradford Night Train. So I'm
Oh,
looking
cool.
forward to that. Um, you've got Paul Gehring on guitar,
Yeah.
and he was with you in Down and Outs, I believe,
And the choir boys as well. Yeah,
and Choir Boys, yeah. Keith Weir, you were also Choir Boys and Down and Outs.
right. Yeah,
Nick Malin, Choir Boys and the Peccadillos.
peccadillos.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Pip Malin, is it? Or Pip Malin? Pip Malin.
Nick Malin and Nick Malin, the twins.
Oh, the twins, are they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Right, okay. Was he with you in previous bands?
Hip has played on. Well, let me see. He was on Well Oiled. He was on Home Wreckers and Heartbreakers. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he's played on various Choir Boys albums. He's been in and out of the band for about yeah, well 20 years. From the Choir Boys days.
Yeah, well, my partner is a big Choir Boys fan. She's a massive Choir Boys fan. It wasn't really my scene when I first met her. You know, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, and Slayer, and all the heavy stuff. And I did try and have a girlfriend back in the early night, late 80s, early 90s, and she were into Choir Boys, Tiger Tails, and um, Dogs Do More and stuff like that. But Megadeth was pulling me that way on the heavier side. But since then, I have seen Choir Boys perform, and as you can see, we've got quite an extensive record collection. So my partner is very excited about seeing you when we go to Bradford. So you're the singer now, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm the singing with the new album,
Yeah,
and
because the new album is Cowboys in Pinstripe Suits, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that is that. How many albums you done with this band?
But this is the first album. This is
Right,
the album. Yeah. So early days.
early days, because that's what I thought it was the first album. But I was actually really surprised about all the guest performers you've got in your first album, which is very unusual for a debut album.
Well, I didn't really think of it like that. It was something where we had a couple of friends um, involved, and then it just kind of sort of blossomed from there, really. And
Yeah.
we've got a long history with all these people, so it was nice to be able to work with different people, rather than being stuck in the old situation.
Yeah. So how long have you been singing then?
Well, I obviously I'm doing this Black Eyed Suns thing, but before that, I had had a band called Glimmer, and we when I was living in the United States,
Yeah.
uh, probably 20 years ago, and when the Choir Boys first split up in the 90s,
Yeah.
and so I formed a band called Glimmer, and we signed to Atlantic Records, and we toured in America. So I had experience of singing and fronting anyway. It
Yeah.
wasn't like completely alien to me.
Yeah.
Um, and it just seemed like an easier option rather than trying to get another singer in. I just didn't really want to deal with a singer anymore, to be honest. It was much easier just to keep this the stick with what you know kind of thing, and that's what we
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I get that. Do you enjoy it being up
Um,
there? Because it's a
yeah,
bit different than being just a guitarist.
yeah, it is different. Yeah, it's definitely different. It's especially playing guitar, so you got to have both heads on, if you know what I mean, and you've got
Yeah,
to be aware of not think, not try not to think like a guitar player, to think, because you're kind of fronting the thing. I don't feel the pressure that I've got to sort of be a like, all singing, all dancing sort of front man. That's not my sort of thing, and I'm not. I'm a guitar, I'm playing guitar. It's like like some of my favorite artists would be people like Tom Petty or the Pretenders or Bob
yeah,
Dylan. People that that were playing guitar and singing. Um, that's more where I was sort of coming from.
yeah. Do you get more nerves before you go on, or is it more or less the same? Because there's a lot more riding on you.
Um, yeah, maybe a little more pressure, but no, it's not too bad because I just feel like doing this. This new thing is like it's an entirely new thing, and there's nothing for it to be judged by or compared to. Really, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were in a previous band with Joe Elliott from Def Leppard Down and Out, and some of the same band members that you've got. How did all that start?
That was back in 2009, I think it was.
Yeah.
Mott the Hoople reformed,
All
and
right.
they were playing a series of shows at the Hammersmith Odeon
Yeah.
and or Hammersmith Apollo, whatever it's called now. And Joe Elliott was a big, almost like an ambassador really to Mott the Hoople. That's his favourite band of all time,
Yeah.
and he was very close with all those guys. And when they got back together, Ian Hunter specifically had asked Joe if he'd be interested in doing something for at the gig.
Yeah.
And, so it didn't seem appropriate for sort of Def Leppard to be supporting them or anything. So he had this idea of putting a band together, playing songs that were related to Mott the Hoople, not actual Mott the Hoople songs, but from the bands that were all splintered off Mott the Hoople when they
Yeah.
first split up. And we had a mutual sort of contact who worked with Ian Hunter and worked with us with the QuireBoys at the time, and then Ian knew Joe, and it was all put together, and we met up and decided on the songs we were going to do, and just got a few rehearsals together, and then the gig went fantastic, and it just sounded great, and we just thought, well, this is a waste of a lot of rehearsal time, just doing one show and then just forgetting about it. So
Yeah.
Joseph, we should really should we just do a record? So that it went from there, So we recorded all the set that we had done at the shows and put it out as an album, and then it went on from there. We made another three albums, and then we made we made an album in 2020. We were about to go out on the organize a tour with the first album of all original stuff for the Down and Outs, and the album won it won awards and stuff. Actually, look, I've got one. Isn't there? So we got the award there that year, the Planet Rock Award, best
Oh
album,
wow.
yeah, best British album,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's fabulous.
yeah, and it's really nice to have that. And it was all going great, and then of course 2020 everything got locked down, and so
Yeah.
you know, at some point the down and outs will resume at some point. Everybody wants to do something with it at some point, but obviously
Yeah,
Joe is a very busy guy, and Def Leppard, you know,
yeah.
the
Well, he actually sang on your new album. So am I expecting a little impromptu performance with you when I see you at Bradford? That'd be nice.
I'll ask him. It's his next old next, isn't it? Can't,
Because
gu-
you got, sorry.
can't guarantee it, but stranger things have happened.
Well,
He has played with
he's from that area, sort of.
exactly. Yeah, it's the local.
Yeah, well, I actually grew up in Dronfield, which is where Rick Allen is from, and same school as him, but I was a bit younger, and frequented the same working man's club, the Contact Club. But again, by that time he was world famous, but he
Right.
does actually pop in there from time to time, but I've never come across his path, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think Savage still lives around that area, or he has a place around that area. I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Joe lives in he lives in Ireland. He's been in Ireland for 30 odd years or something.
Yeah. I don't blame him. I'd like to live in Ireland. But anyway, we're going off track. So your cowboys and pinstripe suits, you've got quite a lot of. It's like a who's who in rock, isn't it? You've got Scott Hill from Skid Row, Mike Tramp, who I met last week from White Lion. He's a lovely bloke. Chip Zanuff, sorry, from Enough's Enough. I've also met them as well. He's a nice bloke. Um, Alan Clayton from Dirty Strangers, Steve Conti from New York Dolls, Ryan Roxy from Alice Cooper and Slash. You know, it just reads a who's of rock stars, and it's like you managed to get all these on your album. You've got
Yeah.
some pull there.
Well, when I look back on it now it's sort of, the album's been out for since the beginning of the year, so it's been out for a while, and it was a couple of years kind of putting the thing together. So it's quite a while since the inception of it, and when it changed into the Black Eyed Sons sort of project, and
Yeah.
it's nice to look back on it now, and so yeah, we actually put quite a bit of work into that, and it was quite a sort of uh, quite an out there sort of idea to try and get some of these people to, you know, it wasn't actually just getting these people to be on the record, because I knew that they were people we knew and they were friends. We knew
Yeah.
all, they're all friends of ours from over the years of touring and getting to know people. It was just with people's schedules and things like that.
Yeah.
That was the difficult thing. But I didn't really. Our record company might beg to differ, but I didn't. What I did, I just didn't put any time constraints, any sort of particular deadline to it, and so if you haven't got a specific deadline, it's less stressful. Less stressful. You just get the people when they can do it, and there's a fine line between asking somebody to do something and chasing them down, or feeling like you're sort of pestering them. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? But luckily, everyone sort of was really accommodating and just really enthusiastic to do it, and it's just it's nice to have the album in your hand, or the vinyl, and it's a nice just testament to a moment in time. It took a lot of work, but it's done and it's there now, and we're happy.
I love the cover. I love that kid on it in his striped suit, and I think that looks fantastic. It's a sort of thing that when I was younger, it probably would have been a poster. You know what we were like when we were kids. We had posters everywhere.
That's what I was kind of that was. I get very involved now with the artwork and doing the videos and everything.
Yeah,
I kind of take care of all of that, and that was nice. that was almost as much a part of it as the music, you know, to me. I really like, and like what you were saying, I wanted to have an album that was a recognizable album cover that stood out.
Yeah,
Makes you think. You're like, what's that all about? You know, who's that? You know, who is he? What is it all? You know,
yeah,
um, and sort of a little bit, a little bit of nostalgia there as well. You know,
yeah. Well, it's sort of like it does actually hark back to when we were younger because
it's,
we bought the albums by the cover, by looking at the cover, and
that,
it's eye-catching.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. You'd go into a record shop and you'd pick up a record and buy it sometimes without even having heard it because you thought this must be good. This, or you know, this looks interesting. I'll take a, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll take.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Um, you're in the middle of a tour. You did November already, haven't you? And you're coming up to December. You've got Bradford Night Train, then you've got Newcastle, the Cluny, um, Bilston, the Robin, Landudno Motorsport Lounge, Crumlin, the Patriot. So how's your tour gone so far?
And London, we're doing the
You're in
elect,
London.
we're doing the Underworld in Camden on the 20th.
Oh, yeah,
Saturday. 20th. That's, you know, that's the big London show.
yeah.
Which we have the Dirty Strangers supporting us, Alan Clayton's band. So
All
that,
right.
yeah, it's been fun. It's sort of just started. We did a few shows and then it stops, and then you got a few, yeah, a few weeks. But um, the December is the main part of the tour. The December leg is the main part of the tour. Uh,
Yeah.
just did Hard Rock Hell, which was really fun. Got to see Mike Tramp there, and I've got some good photos of Mike. We had got a knock at our caravan, and there was Mike Tramp. They just found us, and so we were hanging out. It was actually when we were rehearsing up some of the songs because we hadn't had a chance to have a proper rehearsal. So we were rehearsing with some little amps and stuff in the caravan before the show, and we were hoping to get Mike up, but he didn't want to do. He wasn't. He has to be very prepared, and he'd only just got there. He'd actually wasn't supposed to have been there that early anyway, and
Yeah.
then he came down to the show, and then he came to the acoustic show we did the next day as well. So it was great to see him. But yeah, it's nice to be It's nice to be playing again. I mean, the band we've been playing together for 20 odd years, you know, so it's
Yeah.
to have a break of not playing for almost a year. um it's actually sort of kind of been nice in a way to take a break, but to get back in a room and play some music's been nice.
Yeah. Because going back to Down and Outs, you had Cher Pedersen play with you, playing the bass from Vixen. And I'm sorry, I'd be tempted just to keep her on and get rid of your bassist. You know, I'd rather have a female aside.
uh, yeah, Cher played on the This Is How We Roll album, and
Yeah,
it's a very good bass player.
yeah, yeah. I remember her very well from Vixen. Yeah, she was a very accomplished musician. Um, you could maybe should have got her on this album as well. That would have been a nice little collaboration.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what Chip would have said about that. We had him on most of the album, so maybe next
Yeah.
time.
Well, I'm going to talk about, I can't not talk about it, but two of your earlier groups, and one of them had a really non-politically correct, appalling name, Cradle Snatchers.
Oh yeah, well, I was 16 when I was in the band, so that's different times.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing that didn't catch on.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be very appropriate nowadays, but there's a different
No,
type. There's a different type of
different era.
different
But I
mood.
did like Feline Groove. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube from Feline Groove, which you did two demo cassettes for that, I believe, and it was nice listening to that sound.
It was the same band essentially. We all
Yeah,
sort of kind of grew up together in the well, not grew up together, but that was our first band, and actually, if you see somebody sent me a post, an old ad from the Marquee Club, and it's um, Guns N' Roses' first shows, and the night before, Cradle Snatchers was on. We were on the bill playing at the
that's
Marquee.
brilliant.
So we were very young to be playing playing in London. We were, like I said, we were only, I think I was 17 when I first played at the Marquee in Wardour Street.
Wow, wow,
Um,
because that's a legendary place, that is.
yeah, looking back on it, it's very historical, but at the time it was a huge thing to play there. I never
Yeah,
really imagined even getting to play in London, never mind the Marquee.
yeah,
But it was magical days, back then. A lot
yeah,
for a teenager, I mean, and like going to see all some great bands there, and I mean, I saw Guns N' Roses there, the first show they did. Um, so yeah, it was good days.
that were incredible seeing Guns N' Roses right at the start.
Yeah, it was quite an eye opener because they didn't. We sort of take it for granted now, but they didn't really sound like anyone else when they
Yeah,
came out. I think a lot of people hadn't really heard them yet when they first played the show, and I think a lot of people were expecting them to be sort of a bit more sort of, I don't know, like Hanoi Rocks or that kind of thing. And then they came on, and the first song was "Welcome to the Jungle." I vividly remember it, and I was like blown away. I couldn't believe it. It was so
yeah.
powerful, so
Because
powerful.
back then, Axl Rose did look like he was straight out of Hanoi Rocks with his hair and everything, his style.
Yeah, yeah, it was. They were a bit more like that. Although I think at that show, I think he did have the sort of bandana sort of thing going on. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just amazing. Like a tiny little club, like 300 or 400 people, I think, in the Marquee. Yeah,
Wow. That's some claim to fame, that scene back in the day. Um, but you joined QuireBoys in 1990, and Sharon Osbourne was a manager, I believe, at that time.
yeah. I joined in. Well, I joined towards the end of. I think it was towards the end of '88. Actually, I joined. I
Oh wow.
because I we went out. We went out to Los Angeles in March or April of '89 to make
Yeah.
make the record. So yeah, I'd only been in the band a couple of months, and then we went out to Los Angeles Cherokee Studios and made that record that you've got behind you there. So
Because that was number two in the charts, wasn't it, on debut when it came out?
we used to tell people that we'd had a number one album because essentially it would have been number one. It's just, I mean, Phil Collins had an album out that had been number one for weeks,
Yeah.
when Phil Collins was just the huge, So it was almost like, yeah, well, it would have been number one. A lot of sold a lot of records on that record, especially in the
Yeah.
first week, Back in
Right. Excellent.
the
Um, what were it like being around Sharon Osbourne as your manager? Was she like how you expected to be cracking the whip, or was she quite mellow?
um she could be she could be quite mellow. She was quite sort of, I mean, she made me feel very relaxed.
Yeah.
She was with me, because I was very young. I was, well, just turned 20. You know,
Right.
when I went out to LA, and yeah, her and I I met her on my own after I'd been rehearsing for a bit with the guys, and that's when I first met Ozzy as well. So it was just really surreal, Just I was sitting there with Sharon, and then Ozzy kind of walked in. And he literally just got off a plane from a US tour, and it was really hard to take it all in, because everything was happening so quick. And but just to meet him, and he was really, really nice to me. And I've got to know Ozzy really well during that time. And Sharon was that we would have had the success because there was a sort of a momentum behind the whole thing, but I don't think it would have been as big as it was without Sharon. She just
Yeah.
had all the connections, and if she wanted to make something happen, it would usually happen.
Yeah.
We like getting us on on the Castle Donington gig and supporting the Rollins. We said we'd love to play with the Stones, and then we are in the middle of an American tour. And she says, "Oh, you're going home for a couple of days." We're like, "What's happening?" She said, "Oh, you're supporting the Rolling Stones." So we were in the middle of a tour with the LA Guns in America for a few months, and we just left that tour for a few days, went and played with the Stones, and then got back on the plane and back in the clubs and theatres and stuff with LA Guns.
As you do, that's just normal every day.
It all sounds sort of fantastical now. Even talking
Yeah.
the way about it is, but like it's different times. It's different times. That world really doesn't exist anymore. For what
No.
um, it's a different world now. I'm glad
Yeah.
I was a part of it then.
And then you went straight on and you performed at the Tokyo Dome on the New Year's Eve in front of 50,000 people. That must have been really surreal.
That was a weird one because it's if you imagine, well, essentially a stadium but with a roof over it,
Yeah.
and just I've been to a few big arenas and stuff by that time in America and stuff, and seen which are usually bigger than what was in the UK at the time. I guess the
Yeah.
closest to it would be the O2. If you imagine the O2 Arena in London, but twice the size,
Yeah.
literally.
Wow. Because Japanese are quite fanatical, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but they're very reserved. They go crazy during when you're actually playing, and then when you stop when you finish the song, it goes quiet. They listen to every word you say. It's a weird,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
That's I bet that is that one of your biggest crowds apart from like Donington.
Yeah, well, one of them, yeah, yeah, I'd say,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess playing the yeah, I'd say well, Castle Donington was probably the biggest. I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the home of rock for us, isn't it? In the UK, we go every year. It's not quite the same as what it used to be. It's
Same thing anymore. I think it's a downloads is it's a cool rock festival, but it's a different thing. It's because I mean there's 100 different bands playing.
yeah,
Whereas and to people of a certain generation that is the still the rock thing, and that's the rock gig in England. But for our generation, Donington, it was for a start, it's called Monsters of Rock, Castle Donington, wasn't it? And
yeah,
well, it was actually known more as Castle Donington. People,
yeah,
you go into Donington, and I'd literally been in the audience to the previous one I think it was in '88, and that was the one where Guns N' Roses were. Unfortunately, there was the people that
yeah,
lost their life there, which was awful. And I remember it was really raining and very
yeah,
slippy and everything, and so it didn't happen the next year, and then that following year we were playing it. I was playing there. the time before I'd gone there on a bus trip, you know.
That was true.
Yeah.
Because you did something which I'd love to do. Me and my partner would love to go on the Monsters of Rock cruise, because there are variations of that still go on. You were on with Cinderella, Tesla, Kicks, and Queensryche, and I bet you had some fantastic stories from going on a cruise.
Yeah, it's that was I think the first one we did was 2013, um, and it was really good fun. It was a lot of partying going on still at that point, and then you get to like, you know, 2020 or 2019 or whatever, and it's all everyone's slowed down a bit. It's a bit more sedate and civilized. Not for everybody, um,
Yeah,
but it's a great thing for people make friends there, and you do make
yeah,
friends for life there. There's a lot of really cool people there. Not talking about the bands, but just people that I met who were people there who were just there to see the bands, and I'm
yeah.
still in touch with a few of those people.
Because
Um,
I believe the idea of the cruise is that you perform, but you also mingle with the people on the boat, and yeah, and you party with those people, and
a few of the bands do. Some of them don't for whatever reason, but people free to do what they want. But yeah, you do if you go to that, you will get to meet a lot of the bands there, and also they do the meet and greets as well for even for the musicians that don't hang out so much. You'll still get to meet them, you know.
yeah, that's fabulous. I'd love to do something like that, because you had the 8 year break with Choir Boys when grunge happened. It sort of killed all your side off. So was
It,
it a
it,
nice triumphant return when you come back?
um, I wouldn't go as far as that. It wasn't really like well, when we came back, there wasn't really a hell of a lot of support. Really, it was something that there was a bit of resistance. I guess there was a few people that weren't in the press, especially that weren't fans of the band for whatever reason. There was a lot of politics that goes on with all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So we didn't get this, weren't welcomed with open arms. But we went out and just worked hard, and we played and we played, and built it up into a different thing. It was a different band essentially. It
yeah,
was there was two of us that were from that original, from the a bit of What You Fancy days. Um, but it became its own thing, and I think we made 8 or 9 albums with that lineup, essentially that
yeah.
lineup.
Who does the writing? Is it you or is it a collaborative effort?
Um, well, from when we got back together, it was basically mainly myself that would come in with all the songs and the ideas of the songs, uh, and I'd have some of the lyrics as well. But a lot of then some of the lyrics would get finished off
Yeah.
uh, with our singer, and that was as far as the collaboration went. Really, sometimes we'd work together on finishing songs off if we were in when it was right at the end or in the studio.
Yeah.
But
What
no,
about with Black Eyed Sons? Who does the writing on that? Is that all you?
no, no, it's not. It's Paul, as he wrote 3 songs on the album,
Yeah.
um, and I think I wrote four or five, and a couple of co-writes, and uh, and there's a couple of cover versions on there. So, um, and there was one song on there that was written by by Steve Conte and Keith Brewer from the a band called the Company of Wolves, and it was an old demo of one of theirs, and we just kind of did our own version of it. It was an unreleased, it had never been released, and it was kind of like something
Yeah.
we would have written, but it was written for us. So I was like, I'll take that. It was great. It's a great song.
Excellent. Because I've listened to the album, and like I said before, I'm more into the heavier stuff, and so I listened to it with my partner. My partner absolutely loves it, but I will say it's excellent songwriting. Some of the lyrics are, it's really good. It's nice to sit and listen to it, but it isn't. It's the sort of music that I would sit and listen to, but at a concert, I'd still like to headbang. But it's more rock and roll and bluesy, isn't it? It's how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think it's just a mix of all our influences. There's the yeah, like I said, there's a bluesy thing to it, but there's also, I'd say, there's a bit more. There's a little bit of the rock and roll and sort of maybe the sort of glam rock, as in the 1970s sort of glam rock sort of thing with the
Yeah,
T-Rex Bowie type thing, the Sweet and things like Mop the Hoople, things like that.
yeah,
Those are things, a cheap, even Cheap Trick, things like that. These are the sort of those sort of bands that I really sort of gravitate to. I've always been fans of.
yeah. Yeah, my partner's sat over there going, and me, because it's you mentioned all the bands that she's into.
Stuff like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, all that kind of stuff. That that type of that's my ultimate kind of band. It would be like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I think it's just like the
Yeah,
perfect setup and just the perfect vibe to me. It's got that sort of authentic rock and roll thing, but it's kind of laid back at the same time. It's
mm,
not sort of
yeah,
that big, huge show, which is I love that as well, but I do like stuff that's more authentic.
yeah. Well, when I were a teenager, and this sort of music was quite prominent, and you had all the very attractive women with the cowboy boots and the little mini skirts and the studded belts and the bandanas. And why on earth were I into Megadeth with all these sweaty blokes? I don't know.
Yeah, that was well, that was as as a teenager getting into a band, that is it's definitely a factor, you know. Uh, and when I when I was first getting into music, it was when I first got into sort of the heavier sort of music, it was Motorhead and
Yeah,
UFO, and I think about the heaviest I would go was probably Iron Maiden and that kind of Saxon and all that. And I saw all those sort of bands, and it was great, but it was all blokes in the audience. and then
yep. Oh,
and then when all the sort of LA sort of thing came along, and there was Poison, and then and obviously the Aerosmith stuff and all that, all of a sudden there was girls everywhere at gigs, and it was like, oh, this is great. It was fantastic.
well, that's the thing. It's like the modern day equivalent with Steel Panther, and they get a lot of women who like to bare their chest and that lot. And I remember being at an Iron Maiden gig, and a woman were on the shoulders, and she bared her chest, and Bruce Dickinson says, "No, we're not into all that. Keep it to yourself." And then he carried on singing, and I'm like,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
"Yeah,
yeah, the heavy rock thing is the heavy metal thing is still. I mean, there's a lot more sort of girls and stuff at the shows nowadays, but back then it was a very male dominated audience.
definitely." So I don't know why I missed out on all them backcombed girls. It's just something I've got to live with. But you just bear with me. I've got to write all my notes down because I'm old and I can't remember anything. I'm just terrible. So we had a little bit of what you listened to growing up. Is there anybody who you'd really like to collaborate with?
Well, there was there's people I've been sort of thinking about if we did something similar again, but to be honest, I don't know if we do an album like we just did again. I think
Yeah.
um, yeah, we might have one or two people on. Just how bands do. Sometimes you have friends come on and play. It's
Yeah.
a real open book with this. There's no rules. Anyone can come in with anyone in the band can come in with songs. I'm not I'm not worried who writes the songs. I couldn't care less if I write any of the songs. If they're really good, if they're good, they're good. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, I would like to write some of the songs because I like to. I've got an idea of kind of how how I'd like it to be or how to present it, I guess. But no, I think we covered quite a few bases with the with that album anyway. I mean, just like to work with Charlie from Blackberry Smoke was that he was somebody I really wanted to
Yeah.
work with. So that was really cool, and Stevie and Josh from Buck Cherry, that was really cool. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, even just to get Mike Tramp on there was amazing because that he hasn't done that before. He doesn't do that. He doesn't play on other people's records, and he's not one of these guys who gets up and jams and does all that sort of stuff. So for him to actually get involved as heavily as he did, it was really nice. It was really nice he did that, and it was great. One of the first tracks as well that I worked on was with Dan Reed, and that was a song that I wasn't sure what was going to happen with that song. It definitely wouldn't have been a QuireBoys song.
Yeah.
Once that wasn't an issue, it was like, oh, let's have another look at this song. Actually, this sounds like something that'd be great if Dan Reed could do something with. So I contacted him, sent it to him, and he sent it back, and he'd added some sort of keyboard things and some sound effects, and he wrote the lyrics, and the lyrics are very, they're totally Dan Reed type lyrics, and it's great to be able to do that. Just send something away and not know what you're going to get back,
Yeah.
and 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 then being surprised at what you get back in a good way. Not I mean,
Yeah.
because all these people are world class talents, so you're going to get something pretty decent come back, but sometimes it takes it down a different road, from what you were imagining, which is great.
But the good thing is glam rock is making a resurgence. There are some really good glam rock bands. I'm going to be seeing one in a couple of weeks called the Sweet Electric, and I discovered them at Stone Dead Festival last year, and they're outstanding, really good.
I'll check them out. I like the name. It's a
Yeah,
cool name.
Sweet Electric. Yeah, it's a German band with an Australian singer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have a
Yeah,
look.
but and also I'm a big fan of the Struts as well. I'm really impressed with the Struts. I think lyrically, and the writing that he does, Luke Spiller is
Yeah,
really
he's
good, really good.
very talented actually. Yeah, he's one guy who would be really cool to do something with.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got the look, hasn't
Well, he's got the look, but he's also got he's a very good singer, and he's great,
he? Yeah,
very good man. He's got that sort of Freddie Mercury sort of vibe, I think.
yes, he has. Yeah,
But I heard one of his I heard uh I think it was the first song off of his recent solo album, and I was really impressed with that. It's really just a
yeah,
great song, and a great video.
yeah. Well, he's a really good performer. One band I don't know if you've actually seen. I wouldn't say the glam, but they're definitely rock. There's a young band called Jailer, and they're absolutely ripping it up at the minute. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I saw a couple. I've seen a couple of clips with them, and the singer's kind of a like a young sort of Robert Plant thing, I would say.
Yes, he is.
It's very Zeppelin, which is great. You know, they seem to have that vibe, and you know, and they look very young, really young. So it's you know,
Yeah.
it's like these young musicians. You have to put yourself in the mind in that mindset of someone that age and how exciting it is to you know to be out there playing, you know, and
Yeah.
you know doing it all.
So when you perform, do you meet the fans and things like that after? Do you like do a meet and greet or?
Well, the meet and greet thing I've always found a little uncomfortable because I find it like it's a bit of a strange sort of situation. Whereas I prefer just you know either seeing people you know before the gig. Sometimes I wander around before the show, or you know definitely after the show, or go out afterwards and you know and hang out with people. And a lot of time we have friends that you know from because we've got to know a lot of people over the years in all these different towns. So there's always people to catch up with, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're always you know we're out and about after the shows and saying hello, you know.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'm asking, because like I said, I'm going to be seeing you at the Bradford night train. I'll be at the front wearing my loud shirt and possibly a loud jacket, so you won't miss me. And I'll be taking your photos for the first three songs and hanging around. But I bought this for my lady. It's an original poster.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
Um,
Okay, there I am.
yeah,
There we are. Yeah,
yeah. So obviously, I'd like to get your signature added to it when I bump into you.
yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, that 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 was actually done at a house in the Hollywood Hills, and it
Yeah.
was a house that Jimi Hendrix and Brian Jones lived in for a while. And in the picture, I'm leaning against this pillar,
Yeah.
and the guy who owned the house was there. It was a big photo shoot, you know, all these people everywhere, and I was leaning against this. You'll see in the picture, I'm leaning against this post, this pillar, right in the center of the picture. You
Oh
see,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm leaning. No, just across.
No, that one there.
That's me, the good
That
looking one.
one there.
Yeah, the good
Yeah.
looking.
The good looking one.
So I was leaning against this post, and all of a sudden I felt it come loose at the bottom. It's like plaster of Paris sort of thing, you know. It was a
Yeah.
gold, and I was so nervous that because I didn't want the owner of the house to see that the pillar had just come loose at the bottom
Yeah.
when I leant on it. That's what
That's brilliant.
I've never told anyone that. That's yeah. That's,
Well, that was my last question. Really, is my partner gives me a question to
okay.
ask everybody I interview. Tell me something about you we don't know. You've already just given me one, but I'll ask for another one. So tell us something about you we don't know.
You don't know. Well, here's an interesting one. Then she may find this one interesting. My dad, my stepdad, Bruce Murray. He was the original singer in a band called the Hectics, and the piano player. Do you know who the piano player was?
No.
Frederick Bolsara, also known as.
Wow. Freddie Mercury. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, they were in a band together called the Hectics when they were young. 'Cause
Wow.
my dad went to school in India, and
Yeah.
they were at the same school and sort of grew up together. And
Oh, that's incredible.
and so when they both moved over to the UK in the late '60s, and
Yeah.
so my when I first met my my stepdad when I was about 12, the thing that ingratiated him to me was because he had a really good record collection, but he also had all the Queen, all the white. white label Queen albums, that Freddie had, given to him because my dad, he was a taxi driver in London, and Freddie used to use him to drive him around London, pretending he had a chauffeur when they didn't really have, when Queen didn't have any money, but my dad would would give Freddie free rides in the taxi to all his he needs to go to places, and the taxi drive at the taxi rank that they'd have a call, and it'd be, Bruce, it's your rock star mate on the phone. So yeah, that's my little claim to fame that
Oh,
people know about.
that's fantastic. I love that. That's a great bit of claim to fame. Yeah, fantastic. Did you ever get to meet him?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I didn't.
No. Yeah.
They sort of
He
lost.
weren't bad.
They
Sorry,
lost.
go on.
They they sort of they sort of lost contact, sort of late 1970s, sort of
Yeah.
around that sort of time.
Yeah. Because he weren't a bad piano player. So, you know, a
Yeah, it's
nice little addition in your band.
yeah. When with the choir boys, we recorded our this last studio album that we did together. Anyway, it was we did at Rockfield, an album called Amazing Disgrace, and the piano is there that in that Queen did Bohemian Rhapsody and all that, So there's
Yeah.
all that history there, and there's like a little office in the farmhouse there, and there was a stand-up piano in there, and that's where he actually wrote it. And in
Yeah.
the studio that we were recording in, it's like an old converted barn. It's like where Oasis did What's the Story, Morning Glory. They did it in there, and on top of the on the roof is a weather a weathercock or whatever, like one of those things that turns around in the wind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Go on.
and
Weather
where,
vane.
yeah, so it's like, so there's the rooster on the roof weather thing,
Yeah.
and you can see it from the window where the piano is. So it's like the line where he goes, "Any way the wind blows," was from that when he looked at that.
Ah, right. Excellent. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. I've saved it for the last because it is something that we just can't avoid. Obviously, well publicized your big fallout, and I don't want to dwell too much on that. But the question I've got is: has the ship sailed between you and Spike, or is there any future sort of reconciliation? Or
No, I think he's doing I think he's happy with the situation as it is.
yeah,
It's what he always wanted. Always wanted to carry on with that name and do it as a, you know, I wanted to move it on as to create new music, and I think I've realised over the last couple of years that the Choir Boys wasn't really a thing for creating new music. People didn't want that from the Choir Boys. They wanted to go and see
7 o'clock, and yeah,
sing clock and Hey You and all that, and relive their youth, and he likes doing that, and that's what he's doing. It's not what I wanted to do anymore. uh,
yeah,
and I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with what I'm doing,
yeah.
and he's happy with what he's doing. We obviously don't see eye to eye on it, on anything.
No, no.
So it's best sort of just left at that, really. Live and let live.
Yeah, fair enough. But I thought I'd save that till last and just get it out of the way, sort of thing. And so, Black Eyed Sons, you're on tour. You've got your album, which I've listened to. I did actually enjoy it. Cowboys in pinstripe suits. As you can see by my shot that I enjoyed it. It's not my sort of thing, but it's nice that I was able to sit and listen to it. And so, good luck with the tour. Good luck with the album. I'm really looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
And yeah, see you soon.
Okay, mate. Nice to talk to you. I'll
Yeah,
see
thank you.
you, mate. Bye bye.
Thank you for your time. All right, see you later.